YouTube, how you doing? I'm back with another video. As you can see by the title, I'm here to talk about surviving the Army, MEB board, PAD board, whatever you want to call it. It's basically you're broke, and this is the board that's going to determine if we want to keep you in service or go ahead and put you out. But I'm also going to talk about a little bit of my process. But before I start, I want to get into some things that's going to help you and some things that I wish I would have known throughout this process. So the very first thing is this, and this is probably a give me, but stay on top of your paperwork, because the person in charge of your case, they probably got 25 other jokers just like you going through this process. So it's so easy for your paperwork to get lost in the sauce. Now, a lot of times in the Army, we want to point the blame, oh, they lost my paperwork, the blah, blah, blah. At this point, none of that matters, because if the Army does decide to put you out, the delay in your paperwork is only going to affect you. So instead of trying to wait, put the blame on somebody, stay on top of your paperwork, because you never know. You might be in the Army this month, 3 months from now, you might be getting our own terminal leave or whatever. So stay on top of your paperwork, because they probably work with 25 other people going through the same things, calling them constantly, staying on top of theirs. So stay on top of yours. And I'm going to get into why a little bit later. But the second thing is this. Get all your accounts in order. So basically, if you need to finish SFL tab, if you need to start looking for jobs, getting a resume together, doing the financial advisory class, you need to do all of that, because like I said, the Army does decide to put you out. What you don't want is to hit you full speed. You want to be ready for it. You want to be prepared. So definitely start getting your things in order, because I know a lot of us, we like to wait last minute for things, you know what I'm saying? So, but it won't help you. Trust me, it will not help you. So if you need to go on JKO, AKO, print out all the certificates the Army had you do over the years to help you start building your resume and get ready for your transition into civilian life, you need to start doing that. And there's also a whole bunch of other little things that I didn't even think about, like making a username and password for MyPay and stuff like that. So you definitely need to get your life in order and start making a plan, basically. The last thing I want to talk about is get your medical records, start printing out all your profiles. Hopefully you've kept all your profiles over the years. Get all that in order. Start writing down everything that you want to claim, because when you get to the VA process, the VA part of this process, the person who helps you do your claim, they're not really helping you. They're kind of just going to stand across the desk from you and wait for you to fill out what you want to claim. So you kind of need to get ahead of that. And that's one thing that I had to learn the hard way. I ended up having to wait till I got my DD-214 to reclaim everything that I needed to actually claim. So what I mean by this is you need to claim everything. Start from your head all the way down. Your headliner got pushed back, you need to start claiming that. Everything, head all the way down to the bottom of your feet. If you wasn't airborne and you had a riser burn and you got a mark on your neck now, you need to claim that. Everything that happened to you in your military career, you need to claim, because once you get out, the Army gonna go rolling along and they're not gonna remember that you existed. Trust me, they are not. You can wear your little veteran hat, all that, but at the end of the day, the Army is not gonna remember you. So you need to take care of yourself. But now that we got that out of the way, let's get into my process. So my process started in January of this year, January 2020. I ended up getting my final results, I want to say the end of April. It was the end of April, probably like April 30th or whatever the case may be. That's when I end up getting my decision. The Army decided to part ways with me. But basically, how my MEB board started is, in 2012, I jumped out of the airplane, had a bad injury. I'm not gonna get too much into my injuries, but I jumped out of the plane, had a bad injuries, and those injuries kept getting worse and worse and worse. So 2012 all the way up to 2020, I've been going back and forth with these same amount of injuries, and a couple other injuries popped up along the way, like sleep apnea and stuff like that, but a couple other things popped up along the way. So in January, I had been going, let me get back on track. I had been going to sick call, getting the profiles updated. I ended up getting a permanent profile for the injuries that I got. But the injury that I got, it created, pretty much was like the gateway injury to a whole bunch of other things going wrong. And so I had been going constantly for the last 8 years, whatever. Finally, in January, with me on recruiting duty, I had to go down to Fort Benning to get my stuff updated. So, wait, let me go back. So with me, where I'm at a base. It's close to Air Force Base. The Air Force Base, they actually went through my paperwork and was looking at like, wait a minute, man, your profile don't even make sense. How can you have run at own pace and distance profile, but you still have to take the 2-mile PT run? That don't make no sense. So pretty much that doctor in the Air Force, he started going over, pretty much went over, did a full body exam and was kind of like marking things like, man, hold on, wait, this don't make sense, this don't make sense. So at the end of the day, by the time that Air Force doctor got done, man, I had a profile probably about 2 pages long, and he said, look, the Army system and the Air Force system is a little bit different because the Army changed how they do their profiles, how the profiles look. So you need to go down to Fort Benning and get them to fix it. So that's exactly what I did. I went all the way back. I went to Fort Benning, set an appointment. It took forever. Nobody would answer the phone. I ended up having to just go down there and hope that they'll see me that day. So when I finally got the appointment, the doctor, he was looking at the notes or whatever, and he started asking me some questions. He was like, hey, man, you do have a plethora of injuries. It's probably not in your best interest if you keep doing some of these Army things. But if I change your profile to what it should be, you're probably gonna go into MEB board process. And I know you made staff sergeant. You probably want to keep on with your career. And I'm just sitting there looking like, bro, you're the doctor. If your job is not to worry about my career, your job is to do what you think is best for my physical health. So I was like, doc, look, man, I've been dealing with this for the last 8 years, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse. Like, I'm 28 now. Some mornings I wake up and my body is killing me to the point where it's like, man, I need to take some pain medicine. But so be it. So if your profile is gonna require me to get out and trigger the MEB board process, so be it. So we agree. So pretty much he agrees to do it. After a little back and forth for some odd reason, he decided to go ahead and push me through the MEB board process. So I leave Fort Benning, everything's cool. About 3 days later, I end up getting a call from Fort Benning. I'm thinking, oh man, here we go. They're probably like, we decided not to do the MEB board. But it ended up being my Pueblo. So my Pueblo, she's like, hey, their initial meeting is this day. Have you done SFL TAP? All this good stuff. So I set up the initial appointment with her. She needed a couple documents like NCOERs. For some reason, she needed my LES, my ERB. And then I came and met up with her. So we kind of discussed how this MEB board process is going to go. The Pueblo is pretty much the middleman between you and Big Army. So she kind of explained to me like, hey, look, we're going to gather all your information. We're going to set you up with the VA so you can do your appointments and all that good stuff. And we're also going to help you. Going to be pretty much she told me we're going to be the middleman between you and the Big Army. So once we get your results back, then we're going to let you know if the Army decided to keep you or not. So basically the first appointment was smooth. I only talked to my Pueblo in person probably about 3 times, especially since COVID hit. So I only talked to my Pueblo about 3 times. But in my first appointment, you knock out a lot of stuff, man. Like my first appointment, we started going through my paperwork. I signed at least 1 million documents, but I also did the VA portion. Now, how it is you go, my Pueblo, she walked me down the hall, talked to the VA person. I call him the VA person because I don't know what their official title is, but I talked to the VA person. Pretty much, she slid a piece of paper across the desk for me. Well, it was like a form, but she slid that form across the desk for me and said, all right, write down what you want to claim. So I'm looking at her, and she looking at me like we're having a stare off. And I'm like, what should I claim? And she literally said, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm starting to write down stuff because I wasn't prepared. So I'm starting to write down stuff. And I'm like, well, can I claim this? Can I claim that? And you know what her response was? I don't know. So that's why I said in the beginning of this video, you need to get all your medical records and go through it because that person did not care. And I ended up having to get it fixed later. So everything through my process went pretty quick. Like, man, like everything went quick, but it's also because I stayed on top of my paperwork. So she sent all my VA claims, whatever the case may be. I went back to my Pueblo, told her what happened, whatever. Pretty much because she has a checklist, she had to check off. So she checked off did the VA, did that, turned in that, boom, boom, boom. So after that, it pretty much was a waiting game. So I probably about 3 to 4 weeks, so pretty much about a month later, I got my VA appointment notification. The VA appointment is the weirdest appointment that you're ever gonna go to, like at least for me, because I kind of felt like, I don't know, I kind of felt like they wanted me to be a liar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, they want you to do, like, anything you claim, for example, like, let's say you're claiming a spine fracture or whatever the case may be. So when you bending over and they're like, tell me when it starts to hurt. It hurts now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it always hurts. So they're like, are you sure it hurts now? Like, are you really sure? And I'm like, bro, like, so everything that you claim, it's gonna go like that. They're gonna ask you about 15, 20 questions about it for no reason, just to try to see, are you really telling the truth? But what it comes down to is the measurement. So they have, like, I forgot what they call it, but it's pretty much, they measure your movement. So that's what's really important. But don't let them try to say, well, you know, don't let them convince you to say, well, you know, it doesn't really bother me. Because if it bothers you, it bothers you. And stay on top of it. So the VA appointment, it went pretty quick. It was weird. Like I said, I got out of there. I ended up getting examined for everything that I claimed. And luckily, some things that I didn't even claim, like, they went over. Like, she pretty much did a full body exam on me, even things that I didn't claim. So the VA had that on record. And that might be part of their plan. So that way, when you try to claim some stuff later, they'd be like, when you did your appointment, you ain't saying nothing about this. So definitely be prepared for that. But about 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, actually, about 3 weeks later, I got my VA results back and everything. And they sent you, the VA, they sent you this huge packet. It's probably about this thick, I'm telling you. And it got everything that you done said in there. It got exactly what they rated you for, exactly what they examined, what they found, what the doctor said. So I'm telling you, it's thick. I read through it. Luckily, I got most of my claims. Like, everything that I claimed, I got rated for most of it. From there, my Pueblo called me again. So now, fast forward, we're probably in about, I want to say we're in about March. We're about the end. We're about mid-March. My Pueblo called me. She's like, hey, we got everything we need. I'm about to send your paperwork off to Big Army. Boom. About 2 or 3 weeks go by. I don't hear nothing from her. You know, so she's telling me, yo, it's gonna take about a week, 2 weeks before Big Army makes a decision on you. So time goes by, and I'm like, man, where is she? But COVID hit at this time, so COVID kind of messed up a lot of things. So by the time I found out how to get in contact with her, because they had started working back from home, my results had just hit. So the Army decided to not keep me. So from January to April is the time that it took. So I heard stories where it took 6, 7, 8 months. It must have been because that person wasn't bringing in their paperwork, or that person maybe even appealed what the Army rated them. But I didn't do an appeal process or anything. What the Army gave me was pretty much what I thought they would give me. They decided to medical retire me, so I got over 30% from the Army, and I got way more than that from the VA. But the Army decided to medical retire me, and from there, I'm asking my Pueblo, I'm like, okay, so when do I get orders? Because I'm still a recruiter, so my boss man is still on my neck. Even though now I got results, the Army saying they're putting me out about, you know, putting people in the Army or whatever. But I get it. It is what it is. But this is when the med board process get kind of tricky. So because of COVID hit during my process, everybody started working from home. So things started getting lost in the sauce. And that's why I said, stay on top of your paperwork. So I waited probably about 3 weeks, no orders. The 4th week go by, no orders. Now I'm at over a month, and I'm like, man, where is my order so I can start getting out? Because I also have, like, with the permissive TDY and all the leave I have saved up, I got like 90 days of leave, and my actual day to get out of the Army is August. Is the end of mid-August. I'm like, man, I pretty much at this point almost got more leave days than I do in the Army. So I'm calling around. I'm trying to figure out what do I need to do to get orders. So I call my Pueblo, and she tell me like, yo, Fort Benning should be cutting them. So I go ahead and call one of the officers at Fort Benning, try to figure out. And I forgot what I called. I think reassignments, assignment. And they're like, no, we're not cutting your orders. You're a recruiter. No, your orders need to come from Knox. So I called Fort Knox, and they're like, oh no, we need you to send us this, and this. And I was like, oh man. So if I never would have called, I never would have been able to send them these documents. I probably would have never even got orders. But anyways, only thing they wanted from me was leave forms, the forms that I got from the Army, decided making their decision and stuff like that. So I ended up getting my orders. After that, the process was pretty smooth. Pretty much, I got my clearing dates, and I cleared out of the Army. But the importance of the story is the MEB board process is pretty quick, man. Like, in all honesty, I thought I wasn't gonna get out of the Army until November, December of this year, but it hit in August. So in my head, for some reason, I was thinking it was gonna take way longer, but it didn't take any time, man. So definitely, man, if you're getting ready to get in that process, start having your stuff in order, man. Definitely with the VA, but definitely have your financial situation, everything in order, because it's gonna hit you, man. Like when I got my retirement orders, man, like it kind of felt like I felt the same way I did when I got on the bus to go to basic training. You know what I'm saying? Like my butterflies was going crazy, and I was kind of like, man, did I make the right decision? Did I do the right things? So life is gonna hit you fast. But it's been another video. If you got any questions, man, about the MEB board process, I know I kind of jumped around. If you got any questions, feel free to go on my Instagram. It's gonna be down below. Go on my Instagram and DM me, ask me questions. You can also leave a comment. Certain things, man, don't leave a comment. If you want to get really specific, don't leave a comment. Just say, hey, man, I DM'd you, and we'll talk about it. But as always, y'all have a good day. Stay tuned for our next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.